Mathematics. That's about all I did. Pure mathematics, the thing I was best in. I was very impressed with the mathematicians on the faculty. Having people see the beauty of an idea, or maybe they haven't known there was any beauty there before. Those were very high intellectual moments for me. I worked very hard, and I got good grades, and I graduated summa cum laude, but I had a tenacious feeling of being only mediocre. I was not in the top 1%. I wasn't going to be a world-class mathematician. That was, I think, the most difficult thing for me at Harvard, coming to grips with that understanding. The other thing that happened to me, which was a very emotional experience, is that I was very lonely at Harvard. I had more close friends among my high school classmates than among my Harvard classmates. And one of my closest friends from high school, who was also a brilliant mathematician and had gone to Caltech, committed suicide. He'd been a very important person in my life. In high school, we basically learned calculus together. We taught ourselves calculus by using some textbooks. And then as seniors, we attended an advanced calculus class at Cornell. I went to see some of the psychiatric people in the health center at Harvard to talk to. I didn't find them particularly useful, as I recall. That was difficult. Got my degree in mathematics, and then I went to Berkeley as a mathematics graduate student. I was a socialist, which I inherited from my parents. And I became politically active against the Vietnam War and fighting U.S. imperialism. For some reason, that never happened at Harvard. Several years later, I participated in a demonstration in which we occupied an administration building. 700 highway patrolmen arrest us, and we eventually went to jail. If you recanted, they gave you probation, but you continued as a student. I decided not to recant, and for 5 years, I taught mathematics in the San Francisco secondary schools, and decided to switch to economics to try to do some kind of progressive social theory to ask the questions which I think are most important, how we're going to have a more just distribution of income. I'd like to think as people have to worry much less about their own immediate survival, they'll be able to afford the luxury of caring about other people more. I haven't been to any of the reunions yet. I conceived of the class as being mainly people who became lawyers and bankers and businessmen, and I wasn't interested in that kind of person. But I think I am going to go to the 50th. I had a dream last night. I was back at that period 48 years ago. I find often, I'm sure you find this too, that when you run into somebody that you haven't seen for 30 or 40 years, they often seem to be much nicer people than they were then. And as an undergraduate, I was terribly narrow. I was a very arrogant person, impatient with others. I hope I've overcome some of that, although I don't know. I don't think I've overcome it completely.